WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We have new developments tonight on the ongoing saga surrounding the Okolona Town Marshal's race. Tommy Lee Ivey Sr. currently sits in that position. However, there could potentially be another change in leadership. A new special election may soon have to take place after the Supreme Court issued a ruling earlier today. Our Quentin Smith, he's been following the story all throughout the day. So, Quentin, how did we get to this point?
Well, Scott, during the Democratic primary elections, the two candidates running for the position were Tommy Ivey Sr. and William Randall. However, after a judge ruled that errors were made during that primary election, he threw out the mishandled votes, but also removed Randall's name from the race. Today, the Supreme Court reversed that judge's decision, saying Randall's name should not have been taken off of the ballot.
This is a small celebration. What I want to do is impart upon the voters of Okolona that there will be a special election for town marshal.
It was news that Walter Zinn has been waiting to hear. His client, William Randall, will now have another chance to run as marshal in his hometown of Okolona.
Despite him being removed from office unlawfully, despite a year of having to find other ways to support his family, even being removed from a law enforcement officer, something that he loves, of course, I'm very excited to see him be vindicated.
The drama surrounding this situation dates back to 2017 when Randall defeated Ivey by a single vote in the Democratic primary race. However, Ivey believed some of those ballots were mishandled. So, as a result, he filed a lawsuit against the Democratic Executive Committee and Randall. In court, Circuit Judge Barry Ford ruled that some of the votes cast in Randall's favor were indeed unlawful and should not have counted. However, instead of calling a special election, Zinn says Ford withdrew Randall's name from the ballots altogether.
We knew then that the law wasn't being followed as to the outcome of that determination by the judge. And so within the rights that Mr. Randall had, we sought the process for an appeal.
After the judge issued his ruling, the only candidates left in the election were Ivey and his son, Tommy Ivey Jr., who ran as an independent. Ivey Jr. later dropped out of the race, leaving his father as the lone candidate for the position. However, the Supreme Court ruling says Randall was not given a fair shot to win the seat.
Errors did occur during that primary. So factually, he did make the right determination on counting the votes. After counting the votes, he made the mistake or error of removing Mr. Randall from running. What he should have done is said there was enough errors or enough problems in the election to overturn it, meaning essentially throw it out and do it again. But instead of throwing it out and do it again, he threw it out and told Mr. Ivey to move on to the general election. And that's where the error was, and that's where the Supreme Court had agreed with us.
Now, we did reach out to Ivey's attorney for a comment. However, we've yet to hear back from him. And I also want to point out, although the Supreme Court issued today's ruling, it cannot call for the special election to take place. That will have to be called by Judge Ford. So far, Zinn says he has not been told when the judge will make that announcement. Scott?
All right, thank you very much, Quentin. In other news tonight, the state trooper driving the SUV that crashed into a car, killing an MSU track athlete, is indicted. Kyle Lee was arrested today for the May 2017 incident. Prosecutors say Kyle Lee was driving at speeds up to 99 miles per hour on May 7th, 2017. Now, this crash happened at Highway 182 and Old Mayhew Road. The speed limit in that area is 45 miles per hour. Caitlin Kirsch was a passenger in the Toyota Corolla that was hit by the MHP SUV. Prosecutors say the cruiser did not have on its lights or siren at the time of that crash. An Ottawa County grand jury has indicted Trooper Lee on a charge of manslaughter culpable negligence. The Department of Public Safety says that Lee has been placed on administrative leave. Now, DPS settled the lawsuit last year with Kirsch's estate, along with two others that were injured in that crash. District Attorney Scott Colomb says that the Kirsch family requested the case be presented to a grand jury, and there be an independent investigation.
The only thing I ever wanted was the truth to come out. The officer self-reported that he was going 68 miles per hour, and that's what Troop G took as the gospel. But based on all the research that I did, a fatality would not have occurred if he was going 68. So I knew from day one he was not doing what he said he was doing.
Bond is set at $5,000. A Lowndes County teenager is facing charges for allegedly firing shots at deputies.
Get behind. One just zip right by me right there.
Now you can hear what sounds like gunfire there. Lowndes County Sheriff Mike Arledge says deputies were responding to a home on Highway 12 East just after midnight after getting reports of shots being fired. Deputies parked near the home and walked toward the gunfire. That's when 18-year-old John DeLoach reportedly fired shots in their direction. Sheriff Arledge says after firing multiple times, DeLoach got into a vehicle to leave the area. Deputies stopped him on Highway 12, and that's where they took him into custody. DeLoach is charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer. No bond has been set. Neither the suspect nor the deputies were injured. That's very good news there. Well, time now to toss things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson with the first look at our forecast. Hey, Keith.
It's got a pretty nice sunset out there this evening. Check it out along the river. Not too bad. A little bit of color showing some reflection there with the surface of the water. Also in Starkville, nice sunset with some of those clouds coming on in on our Thursday evening. Speaking of the clouds, we do have a mix of stars and clouds, mainly cloudy around here, but we are in the 40s, so a much warmer night. Notice these showers back here in Arkansas. Some of these are developing. They're moving northeast. Some of those could clip the northern tier or the northwestern counties tonight, but we really don't envision a lot of moisture tonight or tomorrow. But as you can see right there, can't rule out a few showers here as we go throughout the next 24 hours. Maybe a little bit cooler because of that, better chance of rain and some clouds north tomorrow. 50s, lower 60s farther south. The full forecast, Scott, in just a few minutes.
Public tax dollars being used for private education. It's at the center of the ongoing school choice debate at the state capitol. But Courtney Jackson is learning the issue may not get much traction this session.
The energy from this scene of yellow scarves, dancing, and calls for more school choice is seemingly fading. There are 2 bills filed, one in each chamber. Both would expand the qualifications for education scholarship accounts. Those are available now, but just for special needs students. If this year's bills pass, students without special needs could qualify. But I quickly learned that most legislators weren't as enthusiastic about the topic as the crowd at last week's rally. Not even the House bill's author.
And unfortunately, I don't think there's the appetite to really tackle that this year.
So what gives? Opponents say it was a bad idea from the start.
Taxpayers deserve accountability for their tax dollars, and those tax dollars are intended for the public good. And the public is benefited when we have strong public schools where all children can be served. And that's the more appropriate use of those dollars.
Still, there are lawmakers who take issue with that narrative.
Because it's not the school's money, it's the kids' money, and the kids need to go where they can get the services that they need.
I don't really buy into the whole argument that we, robbing Peter to pay Paul. This is all public money. I mean, this is all tax dollars that are paid by our citizens, and I trust the parents.
The House and Senate Education Committees have yet to even bring the bills up for discussion. They have until Tuesday to pass them out of committee and keep them alive. But the talk around the Capitol doesn't make that seem likely. However, Governor Bryant did post to social media Thursday saying he was in support of the bills to expand the scholarship programs. Courtney Jackson, WCBI News.
Here's a feel-good story for you. A Houston police officer is breaking new ground. Riley Martin introduces us to the policewoman who is making a positive impact in her community.
Alessia Jennings spends a lot of time in her mobile office.
PD 15, are you 10-2?
Jennings spent 3 years as a patrol officer for the Houston Police Department, and recently she was promoted to investigator. Jennings is the first African-American woman to serve in each of these roles.
It's just a blessing that I could succeed in my career this quickly. A lot of people have to work many years to get, where I'm at now.
Houston's newest investigator worked for years with Head Start. She then went to the Chickasaw County Jail, first as a board operator and eventually landing a job as a jailer. She graduated from the Mississippi Police Academy in 2016, and Jennings believes establishing trust and positive relationships with community members is vital to good police work.
You have to have that type of communication where you can go into these neighborhoods and say, well, listen, who did this, and someone is willing to talk to you. You just have to be a people's person. You can't go in angry or anything. You have to show yourself friendly.
Investigator Jennings says she's had an interest in law enforcement for as long as she can remember. In fact, protecting and serving others runs in her family.
My aunt, she's the chief of police of Calhoun City. I followed in her footsteps. She's a great inspiration for me.
Jennings looks forward to making her family, co-workers, and community proud for many years to come. In Houston, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
Jennings and is Calhoun City Police Chief Latana Williams. Well, finding and keeping dependable staff for county jails is a huge challenge for sheriff's departments in the area. Low pay, long hours, and high stress combine to make it tough for counties to keep jailers on the job. Prentice County Sheriff Randy Toller says there is a high turnover rate among jail staff, so he's always on the lookout for men and women to fill the job. Toller says many jailers use the job as a springboard to law enforcement.
Many of my full-time deputies have started in the jail. They may have served in the jail for a year or two and done an excellent job, and then indicated at some point they want to go out on the road, and just so happens if a position opens up on the road, I'm going to look to those people first rather than somebody off the street that I don't have any idea what their work ethic is.
Sheriff Toller points out that jailers also participate in the state's retirement system, and there are good benefits from the county as well.
All quiet out there right now. Temperatures in the 40s, low 50s still in Winona, 51 degrees. Much warmer than this time yesterday. We're looking at mid to upper 30s for lows. We should stay above freezing. Your full forecast is next.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Our Health Insurance cameras picking up on that sunshine today. Also some friendly clouds, Columbus and Louisville downtown there. Vernon at Durham's Pharmacy, Tupelo as well. A mix of sun and clouds today. We topped out in the 50s. I hope you enjoyed it. We will start to increase our temperature again tomorrow through the weekend. Currently, we are in the 40s. How about that? We mentioned Winona is still at 51 degrees. It's a pretty balmy night compared to where we have been recently. It now looks like we will not be below freezing, and temperatures upwards of 20 to 21 degrees warmer right now than we were 24 hours ago. Still below zero in Minneapolis, -4, Chicago, -1. And over the last 24 hours in Chicago, look at these numbers, well below zero over the last 24. And really, we could extend this back 48 plus, but this morning down to around -20 to -22, and still just a little bit below zero. Imagine that. Around here, the opposite. We swing the opposite direction here. And for the next 7 days, we are well above average, well into the 60s and 70s here for the next 7 days. The average right here in the low 50s right now. So we start a new month tomorrow, February, and temperatures will be more March-like than February-like as we spring way far ahead. Notice the showers, the rain down here along the Gulf Coast, also back to the northwestern Arkansas. A lot of this moisture is going to miss our area, believe it or not. There's a little upper air disturbance down there in Texas, and this first feature with those heavier showers down there along the coast will be moving east and weakening, and those showers back to the northwest, pivoting to the northeast. But I can't rule out an isolated shower later today or tomorrow, but not a lot of moisture expected here. More clouds than sun as we go through time, it looks like, with the southerly flow that will be developing. But as we get into Sunday and Monday, early next week, really not a lot of action, but eventually by the middle of next week, that front gets closer, and it will give us a better chance for some showers and storms. Tomorrow, your Friday, chilly to start out, but not necessarily as cold as we have been. 50s and 60s throughout the course of the day. Here you go. Let's check it out city by city. 58 in Tupelo, 60 or so in Calhoun City. Into the low to mid 60s along and south of US 82. West Alabama, how about some upper 50s, the low 60s as well. Here's your AccuWeather 70 forecast into the 60s for the weekend, mid 60s, low 70s next week. As I mentioned, rain chances going on up, especially by Monday, more so into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Scott.
The Calhoun Economic Development Association holds its 12th annual banquet, and Attorney General Jim Hood, he was tonight's guest speaker. Now, the association, they meet every year to discuss the economic development of Calhoun and other counties in the surrounding area. The mission of CEDA is to help existing businesses prosper and expand. They also help to foster improvements in education and the workforce. Hail State Hoops takes the court against the Bayou Bengals. Could they get a win in Red Stick? Tom has highlights later in sports. Welcome back, everyone. There's no cure for glaucoma, but there are ways that it can be treated. We learn more on the treatment options in our Health Talk with Baptist.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dan Bennett, an ophthalmologist on staff here at Baptist Memorial Hospital, Golden Triangle. And tonight I'm going to talk to you about symptoms and treatment options for glaucoma. The optic nerve is made up of many nerve fibers that carry images to the brain. It's kind of like an electric cable containing numerous wires. When glaucoma damages the optic nerve, blind spots can develop. You typically won't notice these at first in your day-to-day activities until the optic nerve is significantly damaged and these spots become larger. If the entire nerve is destroyed, blindness results. Glaucoma is usually controlled with eye drops. Used every day, eye drops lower the eye pressure by reducing the amount of fluid produced in the eye or by helping fluid drain better inside the eye. When eye drops don't sufficiently control the intraocular pressure, pills may sometimes be prescribed in addition to the drops. When medications do not achieve the desired result or have intolerable side effects, your ophthalmologist may suggest surgery. There are office-based laser treatments to lower the eye pressure, and in some cases, major surgery may be required in the operating room. These treatments are all designed to lower the eye pressure. Just know that treating glaucoma successfully is a team effort between you and your doctor. Your ophthalmologist will prescribe your glaucoma treatment. It is up to you to follow your doctor's instructions to prevent permanent vision loss. Join us next time for Health Talk with Baptist.
Mail your topic suggestions to healthtalk@wcbi.com. Health Talk has been brought to you by Baptist Memorial Hospital, Golden Triangle.
A record-setting night for Mississippi State, leaving a lot of Tiger fans sad in Baton Rouge. Those highlights and more are coming up next in sports.
Here's WCBI Sports with Tom Ebel.
In its past 4 wins, Hail State Hoops has dominated opponents, winning on average by 30 points. The Bulldogs went on the road to take on the conference's top defense in LSU, and well, I feel like there needs to be a parental advisory on these highlights. Right off the bat, Andra Espinoza-Hunter out here hooping all by herself. She's going to drain the triple to put the Bulldogs up by 3. Then in transition, Jordan Danbury to Espinoza-Hunter. Knockdown, another triple, so it's 6-0. 2 seconds later, Bulldogs steal the ball. Nice ball movement here. It's going to rotate to Anriel Howard. And then watch Espinoza-Hunter. Shoop, goes back door wide open underneath the basket for 2. 8 points for Andra Espinoza-Hunter, 0 for LSU. It's now 11-0. Anriel Howard says no soup for you. Outlet to Espinoza-Hunter. Hits the defender with the hezzy and the scoop layup for 2. LSU still doesn't have any points. It's 19-0, and Jazz Holmes gets the hands up in the passing lane, gets the steal, goes coast to coast for 2. Mississippi State opens the game on a 21-0 run. LSU would eventually score some points, but not that many. Bulldogs break the program record for fewest points allowed in SEC play. 68-35 is the final. Mississippi State now 20-1, still perfect in conference play. Ole Miss unable to defend home court. Auburn gets the win 64-51. That's what it is. Got to spit it out. Rebels fall to 2-6 in conference play. Chandrika Sessom finishing with 16 points and 8 rebounds. Heading over to JUCO Hoops. Northeast in action, taking on Kahoma. As always, ladies first. Here early on for the Tigers, that's Sherelle Jones gets position, makes it a 10-point lead for Northeast. Then add Haley Vick triple. The Pine Grove native makes it 49-35. Northeast up by 15 after 3. Then in the fourth, Katonia Webster open layup stretches it. It's a 20-point ball game, and Northeast goes on to cruise to a 66-46 win on the girls' side. Then to the men's side, Northeast, of course, all the pink going to breast cancer awareness. Here early on for Northeast, give it to the big fella. Jamarcus Jones battling inside, draws the foul, makes the free throw, so Northeast up 5-0. Quick inbound to Jalen Perkins, easy bucket. Northeast stretching that lead, and then a fast break inside to Jaquante Bell, the New Hope native, battling inside, takes the contact, showing off the muscles. It's grown man take right there. And then again, Bell. Let the man go to work inside. Check out the post moves with the left-hand finish. Northeast goes on to win 73-61. They're now 16-2 on the season. Let's go to some high school hoops. Caledonia taking on Lamar County in a little bit of cross-state rivalry here. First quarter, Bulldogs on the break. Rick Rogers to C.J. Wise for the corner triple. So the Bulldogs take a 1-point lead early. Then in the first, Feds run ISO to Tyron Johnson. That's a grown man take off the window for two. A little bit of English to put the Feds back up. Now Lamar County in transition. TJ Eskridge hits Dalton Event for the top of the key triple. 3-ball working for Lamar County early on, but next possession, Romeo Sanders comes off the pick, drives into the lane. That's a beautiful take for the finish. Feds go on to win big. They defeat Lamar County 72-51. The NFL has announced Jeffrey Simmons will not be invited to the NFL Combine due to past issues involving violence. Simmons pleaded no contest with simple assault and disturbing the peace back in 2016. The NFL adopted rules prohibiting players from entering the Combine with a history of domestic violence, sexual assault, and weapons charges in 2016. Simmons and Colorado State wide receiver Preston Williams are the only two to be barred from the Combine to this point in the year. WCBI confirming Houston native Denver McQuarrie has been dismissed from the baseball program at Mississippi State due to violation of team rules. Joel Coleman was the first to report. McQuarrie was in competition to fill the weekend role for the Bulldogs as well as continue in relief opportunities. That's it for sports. Last look at your weather is next.
Warmer weather tomorrow is the first day of a new month, February, and we are back up into the 50s and 60s. 60s for the weekend, Scott. 60s, 70s next week. Better rain chances next week. That's the trade-off here, but a little taste of spring about a month early.
Hey, but it's not raining on the weekend.
No, this is not going to be a weekend washout, so we should be okay there.
So get out and enjoy that for sure.
That'd be good.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great night. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.